Hello. Now in this tutorial, I'm going to start writing the double linked list operations. It's going to be a complete C program step by step, and we'll start writing the program in this tutorial, and in subsequent tutorial we'll complete these operations. We'll see how different operations could be written for double linked list data structure. You can see that we had this node structure. It's having one additional pointer, that's the previous pointer. It's going to hold the address of the previous node, as I said in the introduction. And we have this double linked list structure there that is exactly same like we had in case of single linked list. It's having a head pointer, a tail pointer, and a node count. Now I have written all those function prototypes there. The first one is the init list. It is going to initialize the list parameters. It's going to initialize the head, tail with null, and node count with 0. It's just like same as we did in case of single linked list. Then we have this add first operation. It's going to create a node, and it's going to add that node as the first node of the double linked list. The content of the node is going to be data that is passed as a parameter to this function. And also we are passing this list pointer, and that's the double linked list pointer here as the first parameter. The add last method is going to add a new node as the last node of the double linked list, and it's also going to receive two parameters. One is the data, that's going to be the content of the node, and another one is the list pointer. The load from file is just same as the load from file from single linked list. It will call the add last method to add a new node as the last node of the linked list. It will read the content of the file, a text file, where we'll keep some integer numbers. It will read those integer numbers one after another, and will create node, and will add those node as the last node of the double linked list. Actually, it is going to call the add last method after reading each number from the file. And then we have this create list from random numbers. It's going to create n random numbers, and it's going to add those numbers into the double linked list. Actually, it's going to call the add last method as well, using those n random numbers one after another. The print list details is going to print the double linked list with details. It's going to print each node's content, the previous pointer's content, the next pointer's content, as well as the data field of the double linked list. So you'll have the total linked list visualized there in the console. And then we have this print forward is going to print the double linked list, the content of each node starting from the first node to the last node. And then the print reverse is going to traverse the linked list from the last node until it reaches the first node. The content of each node is going to be printed. It is receiving the double linked list pointer here, as you can see. Now this find method is the searching operation. It's just the same as the single linked list. It will start searching the target that we are passing here in a node starting from the first node, and it will search until it reaches the end of the list. If the target is found, it's going to return the address of that target node, or it's going to return null if the target is not found there. Now we have this insert after operation. It's going to insert a new node after the target node if the target is found. So it's going to search for the target in a node by using that find operation that we have written earlier. We'll write that, and then it will create a new node, and we'll insert that new node after the node that contains the target data. If that target data is found, then it will do so, otherwise it will just return. So it's going to return 1 if the insert operation is successful. Otherwise, if the target node is not there in the linked list, it's going to return 0. The insert before operation is going to add a new node before the target node. So it will search for the target node with this target data, and if found, it's going to create a new node and will add that node or insert that node just before the target node. So the data of that new node is going to be this data that is passed as the third parameter of this insert before operation. The delete first is going to delete the first node of the linked list if it is there, and if successful, it's going to return 1, otherwise it's going to return 0. The delete last is going to delete the last node of the double linked list. If successful, it's going to return 1, otherwise it's going to return 0. The delete target is going to delete the node that contains this target data. So it will search in the double linked list if any node contains that target data. If found, then it will be deleted. That node containing the target data will be deleted. So on successful deletion, it's going to return 1, otherwise it's going to return 0. The menu is going to print the menu for this user interface. All these operations will be displayed there in a menu, and I can show you that. I have already written that here. Here is the menu. So here we have all those operations enlisted. So user may choose either of these operations and can do that operation. So when a menu option is chosen by the user, a particular function will be called. So I have written all these, or I have copied all these functions from the single linked list. You can see that load from file, it's copied from the single linked list program, and I hope that you have already done that single linked list program, so you are much conversant with all these things, and we are experienced enough now to handle this kind of operations. So you can see that in a single in this load from file function, actually we are reading the data from the file, and we are calling the add last method of the double linked list operation, where a new node is going to be created as the last node, and the data will be added in that node, and that particular node will be added as the last node. Okay, so it's going to be within this while loop. As long as there is data in the file, it's going to iterate and will read the data and will call the last node to create a node and insert that as the last node of the linked list. So the create list from random numbers is also copied from the previous program. It is initializing the seed with the time, and then it is iterating in a for loop for n numbers of times. Each time it is generating a random number from 0 to 999, and then calling this add last method. As you can see, that's going to add a new node with this data k as the last node of the linked list. So this is the structure of this program, and we'll be implementing all those methods: add first, add last, insert before, insert after, find, all this in the subsequent tutorials. And we have this main method. It is also written. I have written that main method. We have declared this double linked list object there, as you can see, and we have initialized the double linked list object by calling the init list exactly in the same way as we did in case of single linked list. And there is a while loop. As you can see, it is again the same thing as we did in case of single linked list. As long as the user chooses not to quit, they are going to continue with this while loop. And then if the user chooses 1, then it's going to load the data from the file and create the linked list. And all these things are just same as we did in case of single linked list, just calling the appropriate functions according to the menu operation or option chosen. So that is the structure of the program, primary structure of the program. We need to implement all these methods. I mean these insert before, insert, the add last, add first, delete last, and all other methods there, as I mentioned. So we'll do that in the subsequent tutorials. So what I'm going to do here is that I'm going to attach this program as I showed you with this tutorial. So you download this program and you save it there in your hard drive. And when I go developing these operations one by one in the next and subsequent tutorial, then you just go on typing with me simultaneously. So that's going to be fun. I mean, you're going to create the program with me, along with me. I hope that's going to be helpful. Keep watching. Thank you very much.